Okay, so one of the biggest takeaways I got from last night's game between the Thunder and the Knicks is the Thunder, it's safe to say they will contend in the Western Conference. They're more than just a competitive playoff team, even with the additions of Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. I had two concerns for this squad. One being Carmelo Anthony's age. Carmelo is pushing in his mid-30s, and the last couple seasons hasn't really ended well for Melo. But that does come with being the main guy on a franchise like the Knicks. So it's perfectly understandable, and he hasn't had season-ending injuries that are very severe, like something that's torn. It's just miles and miles and miles placed upon his body. And based on what I saw from last night's game, Carmelo Anthony he's no longer the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy anymore, and that's obvious. And it looks like his body will sustain. He's a guy that is in incredible shape. He knows how to take care of his body. And based on how he played alongside those two All-Stars, we're not going to see New York Knicks main guy Melo. We're going to see 2012 Olympic team Melo. That or hoodie Melo, but I don't think they allow hoodies on the basketball court. Or do they? So that's number one. Number two, the bench. Now, they didn't have to give up a whole lot to acquire the two All-Stars, Melo and George, but they still had to give up some minor key components off their bench. And it's Cantor, Oladipo. And history has shown if you try to acquire your own big three, for the most part, you're not going to have enough left over to acquire some good role players. But against a team like Golden State, you need good key players. And I'm talking about players coming off the bench. You need to go 7 deep. You need to go 9, 10 deep. And like I said before, it makes sense that they don't have a bench now because, of course, the $100 million contract they offered to Steven Adams, the extension they just signed for Russell Westbrook, and, of course, Carmelo Anthony's contract with the New York Knicks is pretty big as well, so it makes sense. But that only is a major concern if one of your big three isn't exactly durable. And of course, Carmelo Anthony is the guy that I had questions of. But of course, like I said, based on last night's game, it doesn't look like it's going to be the problem. Carmelo doesn't look old. He doesn't look slow. He doesn't look like he's lost a step. In fact, he probably, even though he missed some shots, he looked pretty comfortable out there. And in the end, if you have a very, very comfortable Carmelo playing, that spells doom for your team. And of course, I haven't even mentioned the play of Paul George and then the fact that Russell Westbrook had a triple-double last night. And it was a very efficient triple-double, I might add. It wasn't anything that was too forced. Of course, the team chemistry is still not an issue, but it's being developed right now. But based on what I've been able to see from the big three, I think it's definitely safe to say that they mesh pretty well. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Oklahoma will knock off the Warriors, but in terms of star power, there aren't any other teams in the Western Conference, at least that I can think of at the moment, that has more talent than what Oklahoma has. Houston doesn't have much star power like OKC. I know James Harden and Chris Paul are special, but right now, from what I've been able to see, it looks like it's still James Harden's team. So it's basically the same squad from last year, except you have a really damn good point guard. San Antonio, unless LaMarcus Aldridge has the best year of his career, I can't see this team knocking off OKC. That's if OKC has home court advantage. If it's the other way around, then they definitely have a much better shot. And who would Kawhi Leonard be guarding? Would he be guarding Paul George? Would he be guarding Anthony? Is he going to try and slow down Russell Westbrook? Russell Westbrook doesn't need a triple-double, and that's really scary. In fact, he probably has more help on this squad than the last couple of years with Durant. And of course, I'm not saying that Oklahoma will beat the Warriors, but I think in the Western Conference, they are the closest. They are the team that could potentially knock off Golden State. I still have the Cleveland Cavaliers as the closest team, the best team that could take on the Warriors. But in terms of just the Western Conference, I can't see Houston be able to do it because defensively they're still challenged. San Antonio, who knows where their bench players will be by the end of the season, if they're going to be healthy enough or, etc. And of course, it's just a one-man show with Leonard. Oklahoma, to me, has the star power. They have home court if they can acquire the second seed, maybe the first. They have a special top 5 talent in Russell Westbrook. They have 2 other All-Stars to back them up. They have one of the best home crowds in the history of the NBA, certainly in this generation. So I think in terms of the complete package, Oklahoma is the closest we've seen. And if you're not thinking about this season, if this season goes really well, which it looks like it's on pace to being, there's a very good chance Paul George may sign an extension and stay with Oklahoma City. Same with Carmelo. And then you can use that offseason, and hopefully, I'm not too familiar with the cap space and how that works, especially for Oklahoma City, but I think you put in one season with them, they have the extensions, they stick around, and you acquire some key players coming off the bench, this team will no doubt be a contender and will definitely compete against the Warriors. That or it'll go to shit. Either way, it's going to be entertaining to watch. But that's all I got to say for this discussion, guys. If you want more videos like this, please be sure to subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. And if you haven't followed me on social media, at CVG93 for Twitter and at CVG5 for Instagram. Until the next video, I'll catch you guys down the road.